Coming up on the front line of filth.
I mean, this is absolutely crazy.
On the trail of a blockbuster fly tip with an enforcer in Harrow.
Face-off. I wouldn't mind having a face-off with the person who dumped this.
Well, that's pretty mucky, isn't it?
Fatberg detectives tackle the villains of the underworld.
It's blocking up with the fat oil and grease from food cooking.
This is probably the worst smell that I've smelled.
And there's a recycling dumper on the loose in Braintree.
This wasn't to be dealt with by us today. I can guarantee you by the end of the week, you probably wouldn't be able to see these bottle banks.
Across the UK, fly tippers are the scourge of society, costing the public purse an eye-watering £58 million a year.
They just dump it wherever they want. As long as they're making money, they're not fussed.
With around 2/3 being household rubbish.
Looks like a bit of a household clearance.
Yeah.
Toys, paddling pool, dog bed.
The rest is down to illegal cash-in-hand waste carriers or dodgy business owners trying to cut costs by dumping their filth wherever they can.
It's all very similar waste. Oil, tyres, it's the same person who keeps coming back, obviously.
But in the London borough of Harrow, a crack team of 11 waste warriors are fighting back.
Just filthy, dirty, slug trail-leaving scumbags of fly tippers.
Catch him. Yeah, we'll do our best. Bang to rights. Absolutely.
Together, they've taken enforcement action on over 900 waste crimes in the last year. But there's one man determined to make sure Harrow keeps its 12,000 businesses in check. Enforcer Joe.
What we expect businesses to do is to manage their waste properly, place all their waste in the correct receptacles, make sure they're not overloaded, make sure they're not spilling onto the ground. I expect them to be nice and neat and tidy.
Today, Joe has been called out to take a look at another dump reported at a notorious waste hotspot.
This is unacceptable. This is not what I want to see. Absolutely horrendous. This is going to cause rats, it's going to cause lots of problems. You've got businesses, you've got residents here who are trying to live in an area, and then you get this. This is not acceptable in any way, shape, or form.
With a twice-a-week bin collection, this lane should be spick and span. Hell hath no fury like an angered Harrow waste enforcer. And Joe is straight down to business.
You've got empty packaging. You've got boxes, perfume. So this is all consistent with waste at a pharmacist. You've got labels with delivery dockets with the name of the business on it. I'm 100% satisfied that this is their waste. Who comes up with the name for perfumes these days?
Ecstasy for Joe is a conviction. And it just happens that the owner of the pharmacy is someone he's spoken to before.
My job is to now get him to deal with this immediately and then rectify it.
And his ears must be burning.
The owner is right behind us. How are you, Rakesh? You seen this?
Yeah, it's every day now.
No, this is yours, mate.
That's not mine. Mine's in that bin.
It is yours, Rakesh.
Costing around £275 a tonne to collect, businesses are responsible for managing their waste by using legitimate trade waste services.
You can clearly see that this is pharmaceutical waste. It's from your pharmacy. You've got identifying labels. It's even got a package addressed to yourself.
Yeah.
So it's clearly your business's waste. So what I need to know is how this happened.
I put things into bags.
Yep.
And then where the bin that I actually pay for,
Yep.
yeah, and quite a lot of money, I use.
Yes.
Now, every night, my stuff's been in there. People have taken my stuff out. There was stuff all the way piled up to there.
In a twist, it appears the pharmacist has been paying for a council bin, only for it to be used by someone else.
I drilled holes here and here.
And here.
And the chain went round here.
Yeah.
Yeah, to lock my bin.
And they've snapped it.
This happens quite regularly, in fact. I get a lot of other people's waste in my bin, a lot of drug addicts in this area, going through rubbish, trying to find stuff, trying to find whatever there is, and hence, therefore, all the rubbish is on the floor.
For now, it's a clean-up operation, and the hunt for Joe's waste bin magpies will have to continue.
We just get this rubbish removed, and I've just got in contact with our clean team. They're going to come along then and remove all the rest of the rubbish away within the next hour, I imagine.
Perfect.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. We have a lot of people that fly tip, yeah? And obviously they don't want to get done for fly tipping. They actually take rubbish out of my bin, put it on the floor next to my bin, and put their waste into my bin.
What I can do is write officially to all the residents in the area, informing them of their responsibilities of how to manage their waste, and that they must not put their waste in any containers belonging to any commercial businesses, because they pay for their waste.
But for now, Joe's tour of the filthiest hotspots on his turf continues. Across the UK, keeping a lid on the waste produced by commercial businesses is a constant challenge. It's estimated the British public spend more than £9 billion on takeaways every year. We love our fast food so much that more than 20% of us grab a takeout at least once a week.
Let's see what they've had. They've had a chicken curry and sticky toffee pudding.
This high-fat food diet can not only clog up our arteries, but also clogs up our Victorian sewage system.
Would you say this is the beginning of potential fatbergs?
It's certainly well on its way.
An estimated 18 million litres or 7 Olympic-sized swimming pools of cooking fat is poured down our drains every year.
I'm not sure whether people are flushing, what they're flushing down, but it seems to be congregating somewhere here.
Once it solidifies with other unflushables like wet wipes, it can form giant fatbergs, so big they can send filth surging back into our streets and bathrooms.
These are the houses that seem to be the worst.
Costing £100 million a year to unblock.
There you go, and there's the mess at the end.
But in Sussex, there's a Grime-fighting duo using their detective skills to hunt down the fatberg felons. Protection and Enforcement Officer Steve Edwards.
Prior to joining Southern Water, I worked for Sussex Police. The last 16 years of my service were as a dog handler.
And fellow ex-copper Steve Williams.
I get on really well, Steve. We're very much alike because we have the same mindset, same sense of humour. My ringtone when Steve rings me on the phone, it's "Who let the dogs out?" because he was a dog handler. Yeah, the banter's good.
But for these two, it's no laughing matter when it comes to the law. They can prosecute any business who aren't getting rid of their fat, oil and grease properly.
This is one of the manholes at the back of your shop, and all of this yellow and beige stuff on the sewer walls is fat, oil and grease from food cooking. Now, what we'd like you to do is fit a grease trap that will stop that getting in there.
Well, we have like a 3 strikes, you're out rule, really. If we have to come back and they haven't done anything and they've caused a blockage, we will be telling them that there is a possibility that they could be prosecuted, or they could be facing the clean-up bill.
The first call-out of the day for the investigators is a manhole in Lancing, West Sussex, with a suspect fat, oil and grease blockage, or as they call it in the business, a fog.
So it's going to be fog, isn't it? It's going to be fog in the sewers.
I think, well, he would have, if he's called us, I suppose it's going to be in it.
Oh, do we need to go that way?
I think so.
So we're going left at this next roundabout?
Yeah.
The fog is in a sewer line for several restaurants that, suspiciously, the boys have been called out to before.
Well, if I remember, Environment and Health came with us when we went last time.
They did. Which is where it says no parking.
Yeah, that bit.
How are you?
First, they need to get eyes on the offending manhole.
Right, that's pretty mucky, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's blocking up with the fat, oil and grease from food cooking, and that's all the yellow, grey, beige sediment that's stuck to the sides of the channel in the bottom. This tide mark here is the level that the chamber is filled to when the sewer's blocked. What we do is we follow the sewer back up the line and see where the fog comes from.
The mysterious case of the Lancing fog is on. With the dirt detectives on the trail, the first puzzle is to solve why there's a blockage when Environmental Health ordered this block of restaurants to install fat traps just 10 weeks ago.
Oh dear.
And there we go.
That's fogging it.
Yeah.
Since I've been doing this job, this is probably the worst smell that I've smelled. It's not pleasant.
The hunt is on for Steve and Steve.
It's clear that it's fat oil and grease. It's come from one of these restaurants or shops because this is the only line that it serves.
Coming up.
It's the recycling bank in Stoneham Street.
In Braintree, the hunt is on for a serial recycling bin dumper.
We've got to start getting some results.
OK.
And Harrow's most harrowing fly tip.
Lovely. Use condom wrappers.
That's proving near impossible to shift.
To see this every time you open your curtains in the morning, it's horrible.
In the gorgeous Essex countryside, there's one man determined to catch the filthy felons blotting his patch.
We don't go in our district and fly tip your waste. You take the penalty. I don't do shades of grey.
Yep, whatever Stuart says.
From shades of grey to shades of brown.
It's disgusting. I found turds, man.
This is a man on a mission.
You can go and speak to this gentleman, yeah? Come on, do it. You're doing it.
No.
Yes, you are. Eleanor, do it.
Meet former welder and ex-army man Stuart, head of a crack team of enforcers in Braintree. Together, teamwork.
Just use your initiative.
Really?
And get it covered, within reason.
Tenacity.
Get a lady getting out of the car. She dumped 2 live cats. We couldn't get a vehicle registration at that time.
And persistence.
A few days later, we caught her coming back, and this time we got the vehicle registration. Got a successful prosecution out of it.
Makes them a formidable filth-fighting force.
One of our councillors calls me her Rottweiler. I don't think I'm big enough to be a Rottweiler, so some might say a Jack Russell. But they all say I'm like a dog with a bone and never give up.
But Braintree's very own Rottweiler has hit a problem. Mountains of rubbish are being left at local recycling centres, and so far, he's been unable to sniff out those responsible.
We do get a lot of fly tipping in these locations, which creates a big challenge for us. It's quite infuriating, really.
So he's let off the leash when a call comes in that the phantom recycling dumper has struck again. Stuart heads to the scene with partner in Grime, Mark.
We'll have a look through and see what that gives us.
Followed closely by local councillor, Wendy Schmidt.
Wendy is a councillor, and she's our portfolio holder for our service. Very, very passionate. I detest anything to do with fly tipping.
Just find it unbelievable and intolerable that people just consider it's OK to dump their waste in a public place. They have bins at home.
She keeps me very, very busy.
So Stuart will be hoping to find clues.
This could have come from a restaurant or a pub.
The member of the public who reported the tip also picked up some crucial evidence.
We have a registration plate from a commercial vehicle. So obviously we're here to see if there's any more evidence or anything more incriminating that we can use.
This is truly bizarre, because goodness knows what they are. That's some sort of industrial type waste, and they've obviously thrown in a bit of garden waste.
But this eclectic collection of filth does throw up some clues.
Now this was found on the crate there, and it's in relation to flowers that were delivered to a premises in September. So we've got the name of the hotel and the company and everything else. That just sort of fits in with everything else we've got. So we'll contact the hotel. How did your waste get here? Who did you give it to? It didn't walk here. Either they put it here or someone else took it and put it here. So it's up to them to provide us with that information. So that's where we'll be going next.
Total bill for flowers, £2,600, so it wasn't a cheap do. And yet they cheapskate at the end getting rid of the rubbish.
Armed with this bountiful bouquet of evidence,
I think we've got some good stuff out of it.
Stuart and Mark are hopeful that they have the seeds of a solid case.
It's a criminal offence. It is serious and it needs to be dealt with.
All that's left is to get it cleared.
This all goes to a local site where it gets sorted. It all gets tipped out, sorted, disposed of correctly like it should have been done the first time.
All the Braintree duo can do now is follow the trail.
Now sweep up when we're done.
And hope it leads them to the identity of the recycling unfriendly dumper. 80 miles away in Sussex, also on the trail of a repeat offender, are ex-coppers turned grime investigators, Steve and Steve.
It's clear that it's fat oil and grease. It's come from one of these restaurants or shops because this is the only line that it serves.
They've been called out to solve the mystery of a sewer line clogged with fat, oil and grease.
What we do is we follow the sewer back up the line and see where the fog comes from.
And bingo, the stinky trail leads them to a prime suspect who's called to the grime scene.
We're round the back at the moment. All right, thanks, buddy. Bye-bye. He's just here.
The owner of a local Indian restaurant is called in for questioning, but they have an alibi. Since the last blockage, they've installed a fat trap.
So this is just a passive fat trap, and that's connected to your sink.
That's right, yeah. It's a great idea. It helps the drain, keeps it nice and flow, and we clean twice a week.
Fat traps act as a reservoir for liquid waste poured down the drain. As it fills up and cools, the fat, oil and grease float up to the surface, allowing the waste water to pass underneath to be drained away.
That's all stuff that would end up in the sewer. Obviously some is getting through, but nowhere near as much as used to get through.
It does help the drain a lot, I think, because but the past we haven't had that, and when we put it, we know the difference.
So you got it properly sized, you had somebody come round?
We've got a quite big one there.
The plot thickens. If the fat trap is busy trapping fat, then why all the fog?
How often do you clean?
Twice a week.
And when was the last time?
Last time they cleaned Friday, so it's
Friday.
So it's due to be done now?
Yeah, it'll be done today or tomorrow morning.
The dirt detectives could be close to cracking the case. If fat traps are too full, the oil and grease can still reach the sewers, and that could explain the blockage here.
Show him the manhole. Can you see that? All of that? That's fat oil and grease. I'm not saying it's all you.
We're really pleased, but we're just making you aware that some still gets through, that's all.
We just maybe need to up the cleaning a little bit to 3 times a week. We're quite happy with what he's done so far. We just need to increase the cleaning regime a little bit more over busy periods to make sure that we don't get any down there at all.
It's a gentle warning from the two Steves. But if they're called out to overflowing fat here again, it could lead to a prosecution. For now, it's over to specialist jetter Mel to flush the system clean.
He's got to make sure that he gets rid of it all now, because if he doesn't, it could quite easily fill up again.
There's a nozzle on the end of the hose, water shoots out the back of the nozzle, and there's one on the front which cuts through the fat, which will then release whatever's blocking the sewer.
At 3,000 psi, with the power to slice through flesh like butter, the congealed fat, oil and grease is blasted clear within seconds.
Look at that, yeah, you can see it's pulled out a big lump of solid fat. Could have easily developed into a mini fatberg. Now you can see sewers running free and clear, and anything that passes through there won't get caught anymore.
Another fatberg bites the dust. And with the case of the Lancing blockage solved, the two Steves head back out on patrol to keep our streets and our sewers clean. From filth underground to mountains of filth overground, it may be easy to find, but it's often very hard to clear.
When did you first see it?
I think it's about 4 or 5 weeks ago.
Crikey, that's a long time for it to be sat here.
With over 1 million fly tip incidents reported a year, criminals often prey on derelict land. And the scale of the problem can very quickly get out of control.
This wasn't just one little small fly tip, this was actually turned into a commercial enterprise.
But when that land's privately owned, the question of who clears it up can mean some illegally dumped sites get stuck in a no-man's land of filth.
The land was owned by 3 separate people. No one was doing anything about it. Month after month, people living on top of stink.
And this is the situation facing Harrow enforcer Jo. She's been called out to a filthy fly tip that's been impossible to shift.
This has been a complicated case from the beginning. Harrow Council haven't cleared the land initially because it's not our land to clear. It's taken pretty much everybody trying to get someone to take responsibility and get rid of everything.
Tucked away on a residential estate, this derelict row of garages has become a playground for criminal dumpers.
We've got loads of pills, tin cans that are just, poor cuddly toys that are mouldy and yucky, and plasters and, lovely, use condom wrappers. So, yeah, why anybody would want to, it doesn't even bear thinking about. Human feces, or feces of some sort. Poop.
Over 17 years, it's attracted squatters, drug users, and all manner of criminal fly tippers, all adding to mountains of filth piled on filth.
It's absolutely disgusting. People perceive that, if it's a fly tip, the council will just clean it up, it's fine, it's fine, it's fine. It's like, no, it's not. We can't just go along, get the grab lorry and come down and clear it, because it will just happen again and again and again. So in this case, we were trying to work with the freeholder and the leaseholders to say, right, we need you to clear this because, well, look at it, this is why.
Even when the council reached an agreement with the freeholder to clear this mountain of filth and rubbish from the site, it ended in a stalemate.
He's finally found a company that will come in and clear it. That took the longest part, is finding anybody that will touch this, because most of the contractors took one look at it and go, no.
With a specialist clearance team due in a few days, it'll be welcome news for the residents who've lived amongst this filth for years.
We see vans backing up here, discharging their rubbish, and other landlords round about will take mattresses and other unwanted things and just dump them here. We've had people living in this. There's a lot of drug dealing has gone on here. I used to find syringes and all sorts in my garden. There is a lot of very, very hazardous waste here.
Yes, yeah.
The rats, there are so many rats, you could never count them.
I know it's been horrendous for you because it's taken us so long to deal with this, but it's getting done. It'll be gated off so no one can get down here.
Yeah, we're hopeful that finally it will be done.
Fantastic.
And we shall have a party.
Yeah. If it does get cleared, we're so delighted.
To see this every time you open your curtains in the morning, it's horrible. And I wouldn't want this near me, and I don't want it for the residents of Harrow. There is an end in sight when all of this will be cleared, and you'll be able to see the concrete.
But first, Jo has been working hand in hand with the local police in the hope that before the giant clear-up, they may well find the villains responsible for inflicting this foul dump on the poor local residents.
We're expecting to find evidence of criminality here.
Coming up, as the hunt for Braintree's serial recycling bin dumpers steps up a gear.
Have you caught people that are doing this on the CCTV?
Fingers crossed.
Right. And will they get a fine then once you've caught them?
Absolutely.
Good.
Can CCTV guru Tony catch them in the act?
But you got to be positive in this job. I can feel it in my water. It's there.
And the police evidence sweep of the 17-year-old fly tip in Harrow leads to some shocking finds.
No, come at me as a murderer or a burglar. I'll take you down, but if you're a spider, then whoa.
Even the most fearless enforcement officers have a soft side.
Somebody's left me flowers, they must love me.
But for Harrow's enforcer Jo, this is a business where you rarely come up smelling of roses.
You can get, ooh, not nice. People's underwear. I was a tax collector, been a parking warden, and now I'm a fly tip investigator. So I like kind of jobs that are controversial and people don't like me.
When it comes to nailing offenders, he means business.
Oh, no.
No matter what filth the fly tippers can throw at him,
I can put up with the smells and the nastiness.
He'll fight back.
Because I know I will catch these people, and that's good for me.
Today, Joe's been called out to a grime hotspot where residents have reported a filthy mountain of discarded rubbish.
I mean, this is absolutely crazy. You know, all household waste, you know, clearly clothes, you've got, you know, bedclothes, soiled sanitary towels.
There's nothing like unhygienic waste to make Joe see red.
VHS, face-off. I wouldn't mind having a face-off with the person who dumped this.
If Joe's going to get a happy ending, he'll need to find evidence of the litter-lout responsible.
You've got envelopes there. You've got letters there addressed with an address clearly on them. You know, personal information. Yeah, you got the person's name, address. You've got their national insurance number. Quite clearly here. So, you know, the potential to commit fraud using this person's details it's astonishing.
The face-off dumpsters appear to be a nearby resident, but they may not be the only one responsible for the mess.
What it looks like is somebody has left bags out and then they've been ripped through probably by persons unknown looking for valuables in there, which is a very common occurrence. But this is an absolute state.
Finding the truth is going to require further investigation.
One of the local properties have CCTV cameras. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write to the owners of the properties. I'm going to request that they provide me with a copy of the footage so that between the evidence that we have here and a copy of the footage, that we will have that person banked to rights.
While Joe has his own clear-up operation to get underway, on the other side of Harrow, there's a fly tip which has been waiting 17 years to be cleared.
Human feces.
The enforcement team have been working hand-in-hand with the local police, including PC John Lester, who thinks it could be a veritable mountain of criminal evidence.
I'm from Greenhill Safer Neighbourhoods team. I'm here today to oversee and assist with the clearing out of this horrendous fly tip.
Over the years, the abandoned site became a revolving door for illegal dumpers, drug crime, and antisocial behaviour. And being on private land, it was even trickier for the local authorities to get it cleaned up.
We've conducted raids and searches on these premises on several occasions, but obviously we haven't been able to get particularly deep into this pile to find if there's evidence in here. We're expecting to find evidence of criminality here. We are aware that a prolific burglar was squatting here for a period of time. So, yeah, we think we're going to find all sorts of bits and bobs by the end of the day.
Fly tipping carries a penalty of £400, but this treasure trove of criminality could lead to a stretch in prison.
Evidentially, it's going to be of fairly mixed value. Obviously, it's been out here in the elements, so a lot of the forensic potential has been lost, as you can see. But we can potentially link items to people. And also, it just helps us build an intelligence picture of what these people are doing if we encounter them again.
As the specialist crews take the bulky items and top layer of filth to the tip, it's time for the police officers to delve into the underbelly to root out evidence.
There will be a lot of rats under this. I wouldn't even want to estimate the number of rats that turn this into a nest. It's unreal to think that people are living in these conditions.
And it's not long before they hit the jackpot.
There's loads of receipts under this tray.
Oh, yeah.
If we can carefully get that out.
Yeah.
We've already finding stolen property. We're finding tills, for example, with cash even intact and evidence of where they've been burgled from. And you very rarely find that the burglars left £1 in it. £1.13 that at least the rightful owners can have back.
Till receipts bagged, their next find looks like potentially stolen goods from a business.
And whoa, hang on. Chris, have a look at that, will you? Yeah, there's going to be a serial number on that.
Specsavers, maybe. Oh, sorry, there's a giant spider in it.
Even for a fearless copper, Filth busting can be a shocking business.
No, come at me as a murderer or a burglar. I'll take you down, but if you're a spider, then whoa.
We had a couple staying in this garage here, which the conditions, as you can see, were appalling, but they actually did their best to make a home out of it. I mean, they did their best to get almost heating, lighting, even a little kitchen that they'd made in there. Certainly there's been almost a revolving door of various people that we found in here, living and squatting in here over the years.
Years of the police and local authorities chasing down the criminals and moving the squatters on just wasn't enough to stop them returning.
This site has been a thorn in our side, part of the Safe Neighbourhood team, for many years now. So we're half expecting to find stolen property, evidence of drug use and other things that might assist us with cases that have been on ice for some time.
Now, with the landowner finally getting the site cleared, its days as a criminal fly tipper's paradise should be over.
Thankfully for the residents here at least, this is going to be cleaned up and properly secured.
From criminal fly tippers preying on tucked away spots to dumping filth in plain sight.
Look, that is how beautiful this part of the world is, and then people do that.
Illegal fly tips turn up at all sorts of locations.
Yeah, that's a cracker. Mattress there. How did they get that mattress there?
But perhaps the most infuriating for local councillor Wendy is right outside the recycling bank.
Just find it unbelievable and intolerable that people just consider it's okay. You go to other countries, do you see filth like this? No.
In Braintree, the enforcement team are on the hunt for a phantom recycling dumper.
We have a registration plate from a commercial vehicle.
And now boss Stuart has just received a report of another hit. And it's time for him to send in CCTV Supremo, Tony.
It's the recycling bank in Stoneham Street.
That's where they've got their cameras, isn't it?
Yes, we've got 2 cameras down there. We haven't been there now about 2 weeks.
We've got to start getting some results. So are you confident them cameras would have caught these
Yeah,
fences,
yeah? I'm pretty sure we should have got a good result, yeah.
But make sure you check them on site.
OK.
Rubbish being dumped at recycling spots is a real growing problem for the team.
Right, there, guys. See you later.
If they can catch the dumpers in action, they could face a £400 fine.
I've got my laptop with me to see if we've captured anything of interest, and hopefully, fingers crossed, we've got something.
While dropping off your recycling is a good thing, some people can't resist taking it a little too far.
People are donating clothing, the goodness of their heart. The problem we have is it attracts more types of waste. I can see that there's stuff like this that's no good to anybody. It's not going to any charity. They'll probably come down, chuck a few bottles in the bin, and then I think, oh, well, I'll get rid of a bit more. And this is what happens. I mean, you can see we've got cardboard box there. This wasn't to be dealt with by us today. I can guarantee you by the end of the week, you probably wouldn't be able to see these bottle banks.
It's time to see if any offenders have been snapped in action.
You're going to catch them, aren't you?
Hopefully.
It don't matter how many warning signs you put
I know.
I think that's quite disgusting. People just come down here, there's warning signs all over the place, and yet people just don't take any notes at all. Have you caught people that are doing this on the CCTV?
Fingers crossed.
Right. And will they get a fine then once you've caught them?
Absolutely.
Good.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's the only way to stop it, isn't it?
That's the sort of support that we like to hear. She's a local resident. She's fed up of it. You know, this is not the sort of thing people want to see. So hopefully we'll get we'll try and get a resolution out of this.
With the footage in hand, has the camera king caught the filthy culprits?
I've just been unlucky. Somebody'd walked up and just put this in the ground, so there was no vehicle. You'll see then, again, a bag just appears.
The angle of the cameras just framed out the illicit dumper. With over 10,000 images to go through, it'll need a closer look before Tony loses hope.
But you've got to be positive in this job. I can feel it in my water. It's there. I'm going to examine this a little bit better and a bit more closely back at the office because there's like over 10,000 images to go through.
Not wanting to face Stuart empty-handed, Tony decides to go old school.
I'm going to have a little rummage through the waste and hopefully get something with a name and address on it. I reckon there's easily, I don't know, 25, 30 bags, maybe a little bit more. Clothes. See, this sort of stuff is not the sort of thing that goes in a charity bag. I mean, this is how stupid people can be. If that was to be put into the clothing bank, the people who would be going through this, that's the sort of stuff they have to deal with.
Despite the occupational hazard, Tony soon comes up trumps.
Good. This is really positive. This is a name and also a telephone number. So that's positive. So I'm going to hold on to that. That's my lottery ticket right there. This is quite a nice leather jacket.
And as a sweetener, he's found an extra something for the big boss himself.
Maybe I could take this back to the office and gift it to Stuart.
Coming up, Harrow's one-man waste warrior Joe teams up to clean up.
I'm creating more of a mess than I'm actually sweeping up.
And Braintree's investigation into their phantom fly tipper takes an unexpected turn.
Yeah, well, we've got a van registration here and it's come back stolen.
In Braintree, Essex, Stuart and his team of enforcers are dealing with not just one.
Flowers that were delivered to a premises in September.
Wasn't a cheap do. Are they cheapskate at the end getting rid of the rubbish?
But 2 fly tips.
There's warning signs all over the place, and yet people just don't take any notes at all.
From little-outs who don't seem to understand the concept of recycling.
If this wasn't to be dealt with by us today, I can guarantee you by the end of the week, you probably wouldn't be able to see these bottle banks.
But after checking his cameras and digging for evidence, Tony's returned to base empty-handed. Well, almost.
Here's my man.
All right.
How'd you go?
Yeah, pretty good. It was mainly clothes that were being dumped because the recycling, the textile bank was full. Yeah.
Was it full or just not?
No, it was full.
Checking it?
It was full. No, it was full. Absolutely full. But also, I got you these. Leather jacket for your motorbike.
Is that an Action Man jacket?
Yeah. I don't know what, you know, it'll clean up.
Not on your life, mate.
With no jacket required for our stew, it's time to follow up on the evidence left by the recycling dumper at the first site.
Good afternoon, my name's Stuart Thompson. I'm from Braintree District Council in Essex, and I wonder if you can help me, please.
First, they run a check on the vehicle number plate found at the fly tip.
My name's Mark, I'm an enforcement officer from Braintree District Council. A colleague of mine has done a PNC check on a vehicle this morning. The rear number plate was found amongst the fly tip. It may have been broken off accidentally or deliberately.
And trace an expensive order of flowers to a hotel.
Amongst all the waste, we found a delivery note from yourselves, dated the 20th of the 9th.
And after a few calls, they get a result.
What's your registration of that van? Because that might fit with what we got. Yeah, well, we've got a van registration here and it's come back stolen. Was it a 65 plate? Yes. OK, thank you.
And Stuart suddenly realises what everybody had assumed was rubbish actually needs to be saved from the tip.
Mark, make a phone call not to throw that metal stuff away because it might need that.
That's what I thought.
They had their van stolen over the weekend.
Hi, Richie, you all right? You know that stuff that was picked up from Marshall's Park earlier? Can you get hold of them and ask them not to dispose of the metalwork, please?
The metal stands belong to a florist whose van had been stolen from the home of one of his drivers.
They've emptied the rubbish out the back, very kindly, gone and done something else, and then dumped it elsewhere in Braintree.
But despite solving the mystery, the phantom recycling fly tipper lives to dump another day.
So I think we're potentially at a dead end with that one.
When the trail runs cold on the war against waste, there's always another unlawful dumper to catch. And in Harrow, filth fighter Joe has spent his day sniffing out the eau de criminal.
You've got perfume. Who comes up with the name for perfumes these days?
No.
He's handled some grime finds.
Soiled sanitary towels. VHS. Face-off. I wouldn't mind having a face-off with the person who dumped this.
To bag some solid clues.
Got letters there addressed with an address clearly on it. Between the evidence that we have here, we will have that person banked to rights.
With 3 investigations now underway, Joe's day's not done until he gets the filth taken to the tip where it belongs.
The enforcement team work well with the street cleaning team. It's a good system because we get the evidence, but then we get the waste cleared as quickly as possible. Cheers, guys. Thank you very much for coming so quickly. Yeah, so if you can just get this removed.
And he can't help but try to lend a helping hand.
I'm creating more of a mess than I'm actually sweeping up. Oops, there's it.
Best leave it to the professionals, eh?
These guys are fantastic. You know, they make us look good. Thank you. Cheers for coming. Now look at the difference. Fantastic.
If that barrel was discharged to our sewer, that would just clearly cause a pollution.
As a result of the inquiries, we're able to return the stuff to the company that was a victim of crime, so it's got to be good.
Is that everything?
That's a lot.
All right, lovely. Stuart, thank you so much.
No problem
for your
at all.
help, mate,
Thanks,
and have a
Dane.
good day.
Next time, in a sewer special, waste engineers unblock one pipe.
That's good.
Only to unleash a tsunami of turds further down the line.
Ah. Oh.
Oh. Hello.
Surrey's sewer sanitation squad
Rather him than me. I don't want to be going down there.
plumb the depths to keep the nation regular.
What do you do for the team, eh?
And Northumberland's dynamic drain duo discover a whole new menu.
Oh, poo sausage. I'm not a connoisseur, but I can tell you it hasn't been blocked that long because it's still nice and brown.